Hello everyone, Alex here again. As promised, I want to talk about Skye dinosaurs today, and of course my trip to Skye. First of all, I wanted to go through a brief overview of the kind of history of what's already been discovered. I want to talk about my trip, and then of course I want to discuss some of the more recent discoveries. So the first discovery was in 1982 when the first trackway was discovered in Skye. It was a Middle Jurassic trackway, and the paper was published in 1984 by J.E. Andrews and J.D. Hudson. It wasn't until the early 90s that everything kind of started to kick off. So in the early 90s we then had stuff like, in 1993 we had a cetiosaur femur bone, which I think I discussed and showed pictures of in my last video, but I'll put it up here again for you. And of course this, I don't know if I'm saying it right, it's cetiosaur. But yeah, this is a type of sauropod that's kind of known for having a shorter neck and tail, but longer limbs, so that's how they thought it was a cetiosaur. Also because these have been discovered in England before. Of course, England is pretty close to Scotland. So these were femur bones that were discovered. And then in 2002, you had the Staffen beach fossil, which was found, of course, because construction of the slipway meant that some of the boulders had been moved, which in turn moved by the sand, which meant that these were uncovered and were able to be discovered, and that was published on in 2004. I will talk more about that later because I went to see these ones. In 2004 there was also the world's smallest dinosaur footprint at the time discovered. The footprint was 1.78 centimetres and is currently housed at the University of Glasgow, if I'm correct. But it's no longer the smallest. The smallest now is from South Korea. It's a dromaeosaur and it is only 1.033 centimetres, and that was discovered in 2018. Then from around 2006 to 2007 there were more dinosaur finds. Two teeth to be precise. There was sauropod teeth and theropod teeth found in both years. Then in 2008, Neil Clark, who'd been working on quite a lot, if you look through the Google Scholar pages, his name comes up on almost every article, but Neil Clark published on the link between Skye and Wyoming in America. There was a lot of similarities in the footprints that had been discovered, not just one of the sets, but a lot of them. And from then there was numerous discoveries, like 2015 there was the 170 million year old sauropod tracks found near Duntullum Castle, which is actually not that far from Staffen. We drove past that on the day that we'd seen the dinosaur footprints, but it had begun to rain. Or no, it was the day after. Day after we seen the dinosaur footprints, we drove past that. But it began to rain at this point, so we didn't really get to stop. So yeah, that's kind of like a brief overview of the Skye dinosaurs. Now I wanted to talk about my trip and how I found it. So I went to Skye at the beginning of August, and I'd never been to Skye before. I was super excited because obviously I knew about all the dinosaur discoveries and I'd always wanted to go. Yeah, so to find the dinosaur footprints, whilst we were preparing to go on the trip, I joined this group on Facebook, and it was about Skye, and like I think it's kind of like for tourists and locals, so it's just like a Skye Facebook group. So I seen somebody had posted about how their son likes dinosaur footprints, and I was like interested, so I clicked in the comments, and it turned out one of the museum employees, which I'll come back to, one of the museum employees had replied to this woman and was like, I can give you the directions for all the footprints if you'd like. And so of course I then also commented back and I was like, hi, I'm a geology student, I'd also like to see the footprints if possible. And thankfully she was very kind and was able to give us the directions to them, so that was fab. Being geologists for some reason doesn't make us any better at directions, and it took us ages to find them. So we went down to Staffen Bay. I think we drove past the bit that we were meant to stop at. Yeah, and then we walked up and down the line for the beach, a good few times to try and find these footprints, and we just couldn't find them for ages. It actually resulted in us emailing one of our lecturers because we were in such a mess. So we emailed our lecturer, was like, please help us. And thankfully he got back to us, but by the time he got back to us we'd found it. Thank God, because that was a bit embarrassing. And we had also talked to a couple of other people who were passing by, and they were also searching, so we were all able to help each other. So when my friends found footprints and we all rushed over, we were able to see 3 of them, although in the article it says there should be 9, so I don't know where they were, but we found 3 and it was super cool. We were really excited. We'd never seen like big dinosaur footprints in like, not in a museum, if you know what I mean. So that was great. They were really quite big. Yeah, so we were able to see the footprints and that, which is super cool. It was a really great day out. There was also a lot of like locals. There's also a lot of other tourists kind of having a look for them. So it was nice to be able to like all get a look. We got nice pictures. Where else did we go that was dinosaur related? If you go to, I think it's called Kilt Rock, it's just a little bit before the turn off for Staffin Beach. There is a nice little signpost with all the Gaelic information, and there's also like a thing on the ground with like footprints that you can have a look at, like measure your feet with, and then like we were able to see like what footprints we found, so it was super duper cool. There's also the Staffin Dinosaur Museum, which I was really sad that we didn't get to go to because it's really cool. It's this really cute tiny little museum. There's like no electricity inside it. It's in this like little kind of like cottage. So cute. It's set up by Dougald Ross, and I think he set that up in like the 1970s when he was just collecting fossils, and obviously it kind of took off, which is crazy. It's not opening until next year, I don't think, which is a shame because we really wanted to see it. But so the first few days we were kind of like sightseeing. For the first couple of days we went to see the dinosaur footprints, and then that night we had to find somewhere to camp. We camped quite near to the dinosaur footprints, and that night it ended up being gale winds, so that was really great. We woke up and our tent was falling down and we had to take it down, and like the poles of the tent broke. We ended up sleeping in a car watching Brave, so that was all quite something else. So yeah, it's like that happened, so we weren't able to go and see the other dinosaur footprints because we were passing by them and we were just like, no, today's not the day. So we drove and got food and stuff, and then ended up sleeping in the car that night. So it was quite a wild one. So now there's been even more recent discoveries. I know that some of the researchers at Edinburgh University are currently working on Skye, so that's pretty cool. There's a lot of papers in that which I'm going to link below. This includes like sites at Brothers Point where they've actually been able to find stegosaur tracks and theropod tracks, which is quite crazy. There's also like lots of sauropod ones, but like they seem to be quite common on Skye. Well, not common, but like, you know what I mean. There's more of them, but there's like stegosaur tracks, which I'm pretty sure that was only published this year, and there's like theropod tracks they found. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's just kind of like, again, a brief overview. Yeah, I was so surprised by like how much attention my first video got. I really did not expect that. Like, I had a look through it and I was like, 200 plus views? What? Who's watching me? And I got 32 subscribers at the time of recording this, which is pretty damn cool, I think. Tell me if you want to see more of these. I think it would be quite cool to do some more like practical rock things. So I've got a rock tumbler, so I really want to do a video with that. So subscribe, like, and comment anything you like or don't like, and I will be back with more geology at some point. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all later.